Hey, welcome back. Sorry, it's been a little longer than I hoped to do another video, but not that I've had a lot going on, but a bit of change of where I've been staying. Also, kind of leaving Torquay, and my parents have been to visit. So it's been kind of quite a nice, interesting kind of 5 days, I guess, since I was last doing a video. Basically, I left Torquay. I was staying at Whitcom Farm touring park. That was lovely. I did buy one of the more expensive, well, the most expensive tier of pitches, which was right on the top. Very windy, but as you saw, if you looked at my first videos, lovely views. So that kind of paid off, and it was really lovely. I had full electricity. I had water right behind the van, and also private as it can be, my own dedicated loo waste area. So I think for the first 2 weeks that's what I've wanted to do. Basically on when was it, Wednesday, I left there, and I went via Steve's because I had some drying to do. Well, I wanted to do washing, so we were going to go and have some lunch, and I was going to do a laundrette, but he said, actually, I've got, because obviously with the B&B there's 2 washing machines and a dryer. He said, I haven't actually got washing in yet, do you want to do it at mine? So he did, kind of threw it in, and went to lunch, and it was all very lovely, and lovely to kind of go to Whitcom area in Torquay. I don't know if you know it, looking over the sea, and had a bit of lunch, got back, and then we were away. I was very, very nervous, and I think half of it is getting used to the size of the van. I thought I did really well, apart from kind of a few incidents. When I first kind of picked it up, I drove, the best part of 3 hours with getting lost, and it was quite far away above Exeter in the middle of nowhere. And also I did some motorway driving with it. I mean, not the fastest. I think probably I made it to about 50 miles an hour, but I felt pretty okay about that. But getting in the van this time, he said, actually, I'm going to, he could see I was nervous. So he said, I'm going to lead you up to kind of Powderham Castle way. And I said, actually, that's a really good idea, because we can stop for kind of a hot chocolate or something. I don't drink much coffee. I do love coffee, but I don't drink too much because I'll get a bit too hyper. So we kind of made it that way, and my goodness, I thought, I might cut out for this. Can I drive this van? Am I going to be able to do this? It really was. I was shaking. I was getting quite anxious and upset. So we got to the Powderham Castle. It's got a lovely coffee shop, garden centre. I had a couple of cigarettes to kind of calm down, and we had our drinks. And he said, actually, he said, it's easier for me. I want to go back on the motorway, so I'll lead you up to Exeter, and you turn right and I'll turn left, and we'll go our separate ways. After that, I had about 100-mile drive to do. Sorry, I have done some notes because I had quite a bit to kind of say, and I just wanted to kind of trying not to witter too much when I'm kind of doing a video, and I'm saying a lot, aren't I, again? That's because I wasn't looking at the notes, and I was just making things up. Well, not making up, but just wittering. I was fine for a while, and basically I told myself, I'll go at the speed I want to go at, and also that if I want to pull in, I'll pull in, and take each mile or so at a time. And I did that kind of the whole way. There was areas of dual carriageway which kind of did frighten me quite a lot. On the main roads, but single carriageway, I stuck between 45 and 50. Dual carriageway at times, it was varying between 40 and just over 50, really just depending how confident I felt. But I kept going, and I only stopped, it was twice, and it wasn't for a stop to kind of go to the loo or coffee or anything like that. It was more so if I was on a a normal road, not dual carriageway road, if I seemed like I was holding up traffic, the cars. So I'd pull into to a pull-in and just let them pass, wait for something to clear, and then carry on. I think it took about 3 hours until I was kind of finally at New Forest area. So it was kind of a bit of a long trek. Probably very, very short if you're in a car or you weren't so nervous. I don't know where the nerves have come from. I passed my test first time when I was 17. Straight away, I was onto the motorways, dual carriageways, and driving confidently. I really enjoyed driving. I loved it. I have a feeling over the last 12 years I haven't driven very much. Sorry, I sound like I've got a cold. It's still the hay fever. I'm taking some hay fever tablets, but it's kind of helping, kind of not helping. But I don't know where my nerves have gone. But I'm kind of thinking I've just got to keep using the van, keep driving it. It's what I want to do, and I think part of going a little bit slower than probably I should, and it probably wasn't ideal for other drivers on the road. Although I kind of think if it's on a dual carriageway, people can overtake. They've got the choice, and I'm not trying to hold anybody up. In the back of my mind, I think it's my home that I'm taking around, and if I make a mistake, I could potentially crash my home or not have anywhere to stay. So that adds to the slight pressure of it, and I think I've been putting myself under a lot of pressure. And perhaps, although obviously you want to concentrate as much as possible on the road and be as careful as you can, I don't want to do any damage, but I don't want to be in the way of other people. But I want to also relax and enjoy the driving. Part of that is, there's so many things, when you're en route to enjoy the sights. So I'm going to really, really try and try to relax a bit while I'm driving. Friday night, I got to Burnley. I used Brit Stops, and I stayed at New Forest Cider. I arrived just after 4, so they just closed the shop, which was a shame. But the lady was still there. Sorry, I can't remember her name, but she was so helpful and lovely. She had me there on the list to park up for the night. Really helpful. I paid £8 for electric. I probably didn't need it, but I wanted to pay for something. And then it was a very, very easy park up. There was another couple in a van there, and they only take 2 at any one time. So there's a great big space between us. They were lovely, really friendly. It was so peaceful as well. I've got a clip of kind of the walk around, which I'll put in now, and a little bit of music to give a break from me talking, and I'll be back in a second. And try not to sneeze. careful as you can. I don't want to do any damage, but I don't want to be in the way of other people. But I want to also relax and enjoy the driving. Part of that is, you know, there's so many things, you know, when you're en route to enjoy the sights. So I'm going to really try and try to relax a bit while I'm driving. Friday night, I got to Burnley. I used Brit Stops and I stayed at New Forest Cider. I arrived just after 4, so they just closed the shop, which was a shame. But the lady was still there. Sorry, I can't remember her name, but she was so helpful and lovely. She had me there on the list to park up for the night. Really helpful. I paid £8 for electric. I probably didn't need it, but I wanted to pay for something. And then it was a very easy park up. There was another couple in a van there, and they only take 2 at any one time, so there's a great big space between us. They were lovely, really friendly. It was so peaceful as well. I've got a clip of kind of the walk around, which I'll put in now, and a little bit of music to give a break from me talking, and I'll be back in a second. And try not to sneeze. I think that evening was magical. It was a great start to New Forest. Once I'd settled in with the van, plugged it in, you know, got settled, I walked into the village and had a pint at the pub. I can't remember the pub's name, but it was lovely. And also bought a bottle of wine. I think I needed some butter and a pack of cigarettes. You know, sorry, I do smoke. You've probably noticed, you'll have seen things like that knocking around when I'm doing van tours. I forget to kind of clean up things like that. It's normal to me to have things like that lying around. So one day I might give up. So the next morning, I was up very early. I'd slept really well. It was so peaceful, so lovely. And I was going to wait for 10 o'clock when the shop opened, because I really wanted to buy things from the shop, because essentially, although I've paid the £44 membership for the Brit Stops membership, and I paid for the electric, I doubt I used £8 worth of electric, but I wanted to actually spend money. The shop looked lovely, but they weren't open, and I wanted to get on around 9 o'clock. But I do want to go back. I really want to. This week, I think I'll go back. I want to go to that shop. I want to have a proper look around Burnley as well. There's not the greatest of, there's lovely shops. It's to do with, there's a few shops to do with kind of witch type things, which are interesting. I'll go and have a look. You know, there might be nice little gifts that I can get as well. If not for myself, for family and stuff. So, and I'll try to kind of keep some cider back so I can give some away when I come away from the area. On the way to Long Beach from Burley, I decided I needed to do some shopping. I looked up that Ringwood town had a good shopping centre and a Waitrose in the town centre. Went there, parked up really easily. It's a bit of a faff with the van. I tend not to worry too much. It's funny, with my driving nerves, when I'm in a town or kind of in the more kind of 40-mile-an-hour areas, I'm perfectly comfortable. Don't mind at all. And I don't mind that I'm bigger and having to manoeuvre a bit. Parking in the M&S, I had to take 2 spaces, but I made sure I was the furthest away I could be from the shop, just to not inconvenience people. Went for a lovely coffee and a bit of cake. I realised I hadn't eaten, and that was probably not good for kind of like nervous energy driving. So I did that, popped around Waitrose. The town itself is well worth going to, and I think I'll be going back. And unfortunately, I didn't take a video of any of that walking around, but if I do go back, and I think I will, and I'll show you. From there, I still had time to kill. The check-in here was 1 o'clock for Long Beach campsite. So I worked out that I could do quite a nice route to Lyndhurst. Again, that was very heavy on traffic. No traffic at all getting there. Very easy, very lovely run. And when I got to near the town, I think it all kind of like two single traffic lanes merge into one to try to get through town, or also try to avoid town. It kind of all meets almost at the top of the town centre. But not a problem. I wasn't in a rush, I had time to kill. Parked up there, had a lovely walk up and down the high street. Again, somewhere I'll go back. I was just killing time. So I was just looking and just browsing a bit, but not really paying the most attention. And I must say, I was a little bit lazy. I noticed a Tesco in the town centre. It was a fairly big kind of Tesco Express, and I went in and got a meal deal. I just thought, oh, I'll get something to eat, something to pass the time. Went back to the van and drove actually into New Forest proper. You know, once you go over kind of the cattle grid things in the road, and I was so impressed. It's so lovely. The roads are a little bit well. Obviously, I've been in it properly with Burley, but you kind of come out of it onto the A31 and back in again. Everything seems to revolve around the A31, which I'll have to get used to using. I'm sure there are probably country routes that I can use as well, which I'd love, because I'd love to see more of the area. Headed towards the campsite, realised that in order to check in, so I didn't read the email until I was nearly here, and I parked up to look at some of the ponies and things like that. And I thought I'll check the emails, check exactly where I'm going, just double check things. Also, I have this fear of getting the dates wrong. So double check that I've booked in for today, for that evening. Everything was fine, but you had to go to Ocknell campsite to their reception, which is it's very, very close, to check in. Met some lovely people there on reception, really, really helpful. I was about 15 minutes too early, but they didn't seem fussed. And then I came down to Long Beach. So I'm just looking at Long Beach because I'm kind of near the back of the campsite. It's lovely, really nice. Doesn't have facilities as such. It has water, and it has you can get rid of your loo waste, and good bins, good rubbish bins. You know, I don't know if I can say much about that. Very good recycling though, which I was very impressed with. Everything's labelled really well, and that's quite important to me. The campsite itself, as I got in, really friendly warden. He explained about the area a bit, and also kind of how the campsite is kind of long and thin. And I was expecting to be told where to park, but he said, no, go around, find where you like. He said, before you actually park up, get out and kind of stamp around to make sure it's not too kind of like clay and you're not going to sink or get stuck. So I drove around, and also to be 6 meters away from any other vans. Sorry, there was another van coming in just as I was talking, being nosy. And so I drove around, had a good look around. Obviously didn't want to be too close to anybody, don't want to spoil their break. And also I wanted some kind of privacy, but I haven't got the greatest privacy on where I've decided. You'll see the view outside, it's lovely. I don't close this blind at all because there's nobody behind me apart from woodland, so that's really lovely. Lovely noises from the birds. In the evenings it's a little bit creepy because you hear kind of like movement, but it's just the animals moving around, and I really enjoyed that. The other side of me, which I haven't shown you yet, but basically I'm right beside kind of the bins. But it's really quiet and actually really handy because I'm not actually putting rubbish in a bin bag in my van. I'm just popping out, putting stuff in the recycling, the food waste, and it works really well. And just in front of me, I've got the water point and also the loo emptying point. I can never remember the name of the loo emptying point, but it's there. Not too close. I've seen people using it. I try not to watch them. I know it's kind of not something you want to be watched while you're doing. But really, really handy, because what I've found that I'm just going and filling up a jerry can of water and shoving it into the van, and that's plenty enough. It keeps topping up to almost half. Then if I have a shower, do some washing up, it brings it down to kind of a quarter. So rather than I don't need to completely fill it. I don't need to drag hose pipes or anything, just enough to keep going. So I'm so close. The weather's been lovely, very windy at times. a little bit showery, but good. It is a lovely site. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to think what else I wanted to say. And then I knew that I had to prepare for my parents coming. My parents, my brother, when they knew I was in this area, they'd never really been to the area. So they booked up a travel lodge on the A31. And my brother kind of sorted it out. And the way it reads is there's a pub very, very close, almost walkable. It's felt like minutes away. And that would be brilliant because obviously everybody would like a drink. My dad doesn't really want to drive, nor does my brother. My mother doesn't drive, but also sometimes she can walk quite well, but sometimes she's getting on a little bit and needs the wheelchair. But I was looking when I got here, and actually the walk would involve walking along the dual carriageway to get to it. So it wasn't kind of as ideal as the way the website had shown or whatever. But I went and found the pub that Michael, my brother, suggested. And basically the walk that it suggested to me from the campsite was like an hour's walk. But I was kind of like moving my phone around, and I realised if I walked out the back of the campsite, there's a lovely walking trail. It takes about 15 minutes, and you're right outside the pub. The only kind of downside is just outside the pub, you walk through... Oh, I've got a clip of the outside of the pub. I'll pop it in anywhere around now. Lovely pub, but right outside there's kind of a big field, and it's quite waterlogged, so walking across that, I got very muddy trainers. I do need to order some wellies. I've learnt that's I've done kind of the big spending on the van, I think, for now, but actually it's little things like getting wellies, getting things like that, being prepared for weather. But then I got to the pub, had a pint, lovely, I think, landlady in there. And basically, she's been in there every time we've been in. I've been in 3 times now. And really lovely service, very, very friendly. So really enjoyed that. So hopefully you've seen the clip. I'll pop it in about now. Other news that's been going on with me. I had a text from Steve yesterday while my parents were here, and I didn't get a chance to reply, but I had a quick look, and my Irish passport arrived. So really, really excited. This is another reason why I've got to get confident with driving, because I wanted my Irish passport so I didn't have to worry about kind of, all the Brexit stuff. So now that's come through. It took quite a long time. It took about a month and a half. I was a new application. I used my dad's Irish, so I used his kind of ID and stuff like that along with my ID, so it was all new application. So I can see why it took quite a long time. But it's there. It's waiting for me for when I get back, because that's really, really exciting news. Mum and Dad loved it. I was really, really pleased yesterday. Once they arrived, they couldn't quite figure out how to get here, but they got to the Ocknell campsite, which is just up the road. So I walked up to the top of the drive here, and then walked towards Ocknell, and then they found me. But I had to get them to turn around, go to Ocknell to say I had visitors and got a car pass for the day. And they came, and we spent about 3 hours in the van, around the van. They brought me some camping chairs, which is great. I didn't have any. So I'm going to pop those out when, well, it's sunny now, but when I'm not doing a video, I'll pop them out and have a sit outside and enjoy the kind of the views and the peace here. It's so peaceful, and everybody... you can never tell when you're going to go somewhere what other people are going to be like. I've found that, whenever you go on holiday, there's always this slight kind of worry, are people going to be okay? I mean, this is adults only, so it's not really it's quite quiet. I mean, children and that have walked through, I'm sorry, I'm pointing out the road because I've got this road, the main kind of bit of road going through the campsite. And I like that, actually. I quite like seeing people going through. Get the odd walkers, families and stuff. You hear children's voices, absolutely fine. But overall, it's lovely, peaceful and quiet, and I'd recommend it. The only thing I would say, I'll go on to this. Oh, sorry, I just turned my page. I'm trying not to use my glasses because they're reflecting the sunlight there. Okay, I've just basically I was wittering still on about the pub. We went back for dinner. Dad drove in the end. He just had lemonade, and I felt a bit sorry for him because he'd kind of driven to New Forest as well. But we had a lovely meal. Really, really impressed. Again, good service, good prices. Beer's a bit pricey, to be honest. I think it's over £6 a pint, but the food wasn't too bad. That was under £20 a person. So, and very good food. Actually, very fast as well. Not too fast, not suspiciously fast, but they didn't keep you kind of waiting too long. And again, pub again. Mum and Dad, with the Travelodge, there's nowhere to have breakfast, so we noticed the pub, which is called the Sir Walter Tyrrell pub. They also have a campsite out the back, but they do breakfast from 9 o'clock. So we turned up, we arranged to meet there. I walked and they drove, and had a lovely breakfast, 2 full Englishes. I had waffles with bacon, not waffles, pancakes with bacon and maple syrup, and my mother poached egg on sourdough, and delicious coffee. So all 3 times I've been there, everything's been lovely. And actually last night when we first arrived, there was some music on as well, a lovely band and playing really good music. So it was a good atmosphere, really good fun. Right, the thing that I was kind of stressing about and I'm obsessed with is obviously power. Obviously I've got the leisure battery, which does the lights and it could charge phones. It makes the taps work, and it's lasting very well. I've never had a problem with it, but I was worried about kind of charging phones over a 2-week period, charging my laptop, which is just here, and just generally kind of electric things. So I got I think I've told you about it. I showed you the All Power 2500. It seems to be very good. Yesterday I put the solar panel out. It charged it. I had 100% when I arrived. It dropped down to about 49%. Left the solar panel on all afternoon. I've clipped it to my windscreen, the front of the windscreen, the outside. I've kind of clipped it and secured it onto the wing mirrors, so it's not moved in any of the wind. It's very, very secure there. Because it's been so windy, I haven't moved it around. I have the option, it's got little legs on it that you can move it to the sun, but I get all afternoon the way it wasn't by the way I thought about it, by pure accident. The way the van's parked, I get sun all afternoon and into early evening. So that's been doing well. Yesterday I kind of panicked a bit and I took it down if it kind of rained. I was a bit worried about it, but I looked it up and it's fully waterproof and it says it's fine for all weather. So this morning before I went out, I knew it wouldn't kind of catch much because it was pointing the wrong way for the sun, but I got it kind of sorted out, secured onto the front of the van, and went off and had breakfast and just left it all day today. And today it's charging up again. Excuse me, I'll bend over. I've got it under the table. Right, it's staying at a consistent 55%, but I'm charging my laptop. I've been charging my phone. I charged the 2 little power banks as well. So I've been kind of taking as much as it's been getting, plus it's moved up a few percentages as well. I was getting really stressed about it. I think I've put on the thumbnail. I made that just before the video. Gosh, I'm rubbish at those things. I will learn. I'll watch some videos and learn how to make it better. But I don't really want to get into kind of like clickbaiting too much. But one of the things was solar stress and electricity stress. Because I was spoilt in Torquay. Just electricity was on. And so this has been causing me a little bit of anxiety. But I'm starting to relax now. Now I'm seeing that the solar does work. Obviously, I need sunshine. But even when it's cloudy, there's more kind of coming in than going out. I've noticed the router here, basically that's plugged into it all the time. I turn it off at night. It says 0 output all the time, but it's on. I can see it's on. I can see it's plugged into the power bank. So it must be taking such minimal. So even when it's cloudy, if there's anything kind of going into a power bank, that's better than nothing. So overall, I'm pretty happy. I've ordered a cigarette lighter charger for it as well, because that's one of the inputs. It didn't come, which I was a bit surprised. It didn't come with the actual thing. That was only £20, so I've ordered that. I won't have it within this trip because I've ordered it to Torquay, to Steve's address. So, but it'll be there for the future. So yeah, it's stressful, or has been stressful, but I'm calming my nerves on the electric a bit now. In the meantime, oh yeah, one of the gas bottles went yesterday, just before Mum and Dad turned up. Brilliant timing, because as soon as they got to the campsite, Dad said, "Come on, let's get in the car and we'll go and get you a gas bottle." There's a place 10 minutes down the road, a small store that did gas, but also a little, it wouldn't even be supermarket, just a small store. It sold basics, but very, very handy. Now I know that where that is. So I've got two kind of full gas bottles at the moment as well. So all's okay. I haven't been using much in the way of lighting at night because the fairy lights I've got up, and I'll show you, I'll put another clip in. It's very short, it's seconds. I think for my birthday last year, Steve bought me a little glowing kind of moon rechargeable light that you have on remote control, you change the colours. I've put that up and I just charged that up. That takes hardly anything to charge and it lasts all night. So I'm kind of like reserving kind of leisure battery power just in case. Again, the power stress. I'm trying not to let it get to me because I haven't gone without anything. Right, so that's kind of the electricity worry, and it's not really a worry. It's just something I think if you were to stay here to be aware of, and you'd probably be already set up and probably a little more confident than me anyway. In the meantime, I've still been applying for jobs. I'm still keen on doing the warden work if something comes up. So that's going to dictate what I do after New Forest. I'm here until the 23rd or 24th, something like that. So I'm here for quite a while. So I'm just going to hunker down, enjoy the area. If it's rainy, enjoy being lazy in the van. It's lovely. It's so comfortable. That was the thing yesterday. I was worried that, you know, with having four of us in the van and we were making tea, having a bit of cake, you know, everybody was really comfortable. Everyone was really impressed. My brother hadn't seen the van before, so he was quite impressed as well. And they all loved it. And I was really, really relieved. So that was great. So yeah, being in the van is absolutely lovely, but I'm really taking the opportunity to go for walks. And the problem is I just keep forgetting to record. So tomorrow when I get out, I'll do a few clips of the area. So if you haven't been, you can have a look. Or if you have been, you can kind of like see where I am. Apart from that, I've got to say my first impressions, because I've generally been, since parking up at Long Beach, I've been in the same area because of Mum and Dad visiting and stuff. Although Dad got lost on the way to the pub last night, so we had kind of quite a nice trip around and saw things we wouldn't have seen. So it was quite nice to get a bit lost. He basically got confused with I had my sat nav on because his kept going off, but then it would come on, and they'd the two different directions. So it wasn't Dad's fault, but it was lovely. We had a little road trip for half an hour around the country lanes. But I just find it's really peaceful. So lovely with the ponies. I've had a stampede of cows coming through. They just ran along the road. I wondered what the noise was. Ran along the road and back out the other side of the campsite. So where they went, who knows? I didn't see them after that when I went out for a walk. But they ran somewhere. But that was quite amusing. Other things, basically, I'm going to concentrate on the driving. Kind of, I think I've worked myself up into a fear of driving the van. I've got to stop that. So tomorrow, the only thing I'm worried about with this campsite is I don't know whether I come back to the same pitch. Because I assume if more people come in, they might get where I've kind of arrived to. I don't think I want to reserve it. I was thinking, I could put my camp chairs out and kind of peg them down just to keep the space. But I thought, actually, I'll just take the risk and go out. And if I have to park somewhere else in the campsite, it might make another nice little change. But I think it'll do me good to go out, build confidence and do a bit of driving. I was planning to, if I need things from the supermarket, I'm not quite sure I need to go through the cupboards and that. if I need things like that, I might go through to Ringwood, because I thought it was lovely. And I think there's also a Sainsbury's there, I think. So I might pop into there and get some bits. Also, I'm going to buy some cheap trainers from Sainsbury's as well, because mine are a bit wrecked from the mud. And I'll just use the muddy trainers for walking here until I get some wellies. But so far, again, living in the van, this will make it the 3rd week. So it's kind of like a bit of a weekly update at the moment. Really enjoying it, really comfortable, sleeping incredibly well. Although I do tend to wake up early, but I always have, and I think that's from doing 2 years of working in the B&B. So this morning, I've got a daily alarm of 7 o'clock set, and whether I like to turn it off then, but whether I choose to get up then or not, you know, I'll decide. Or I might get up, have a glass of water, and go back to bed, especially depending on the weather. But I've tended to wake up between 5:30 and 6 every day since having the van. Sometimes I go back to sleep. Sometimes I just put something on the YouTube and sit back, put my feet up, and doze off for a bit. But otherwise, I'm finding it very, very comfortable. I don't mind kind of like the small space of having the showers and kind of learning to kind of get wet, soap yourself properly, and then rinse off. It's not a lovely long shower, but it's good enough, and I'm nice and clean. Although not today, because I was meant to meet Mum and Dad and Michael at the pub for breakfast at 9:30. That's what we agreed. Before 9 o'clock, Michael said they were just arriving, and did I want to come earlier? So I just washed my face, threw on a t-shirt and jeans, and went running across that way. So haven't showered yet, but I did last night, so it's not so bad. And you can't smell me from here. I don't smell. I've got some nice moisturiser on. I love the Temple Spa shower gels and moisturisers. I don't know if you've come across them, but I do love the kind of herbal smell of them. And it kind of like, I need a haircut again. My hair seems to be growing really fast at the moment, and a beard trim, and I don't have any beard trimmers, so I might find somewhere to get my hair cut as well. I don't like it when it's all fluffy, so I use the moisturiser to flatten it down a bit. So I might try and get a haircut while I'm out and about in the next few days. Apart from that, that's me. That's all the news. As you can see, the view is lovely. It's so peaceful. So far, while I've been making this video, somebody's arrived and they haven't gone back again, so they must have found a nice space. Nobody's used the bin. Nobody's been emptying their toilet, and I saw somebody go past on a bike. So although I'm beside some of the facilities, people are very quiet, and they you know, are barely ever seeing anyone. So I'm quite pleased to be on the road to actually remember that people are around. I've got to say thank you very much for all the comments. I think I've replied to everyone, and it's so lovely to actually read and reply. So thank you very much. And also some new subscribers as well. That's really, really kind. I didn't imagine to get subscribers, really. So that's really kind. And just lovely likes and comments. So if you do want to kind of subscribe, like or comment, especially commenting, because I love having a little chat. So please do, don't be shy. I'll try and get another video done in the next few days. I was hoping for every 3 days, probably. I'm not doing enough. Unless I do an awful lot, then I'll try and do more. But probably I've been making notes as the days go on. It's almost like having a diary of what I've been doing, and then kind of like shove the camera on and give you a lowdown on what I've been up to. This evening I'm going to fanny around with this video. I don't take, as you can tell, I don't take very long to edit videos and things like that. I'm not too worried about being super professional. It's just me, and I'm talking to you, and we're kind of just chatting away. So, you know, I wouldn't have edited my real life if I was talking to you. So, you know, it's just me. I think this evening I'm going to cook something nice for dinner, and that I love a bit of cooking. It kind of like, you know, when you're on your own, it's something to do. Put a bit of music on, or have some cider. Oh, cheers. I forgot it was there. So I hope you're all having a lovely weekend. This will go out, I'm recording it on Sunday, so it'll be out in the next few hours. And give me a shout, give me a comment, and I'll catch up with you soon. Thank you so much. Excuse me while I turn the camera off. Take care now. Oh, will it turn off? Right, excuse me.